Good afternoon and welcome to Main Street Sports. Ray Halbrook here. We have, and I haven't even told you this yet here, Jeff Whitener was supposed to be with us also, and he's under the weather, so he's been sick today. But Jeff, we hope you get well, and
sure.
hope that you're able to get back out here and help us out here with Livestream STL. So we've got Taylor Hassell on today. He's going to talk a little bit about the wrap-up here on basketball. We've just basically wrapped out for us about a week ago. You guys have been a little bit longer than that, but we also have Coach Jeff Ketcherside from the Grandview Eagles talking a little baseball with us, and also Don Jeffries, the athletic director, and also softball coach here, and we'll be talking with him. And if we've got a little bit of time, I got thrown on me at the last minute. We might actually have Coach Dave Dallas over talking a little bit about the track and field.
Holy
so
cow,
that just kind of depends on how time. Yeah, we do. Yeah. We definitely do. So, Coach Tyler Hassell, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
We're excited to be out here. We're going to be doing Scott the Cop Classic a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about that. But we're going to just kind of dive in here right now. I don't really have much as far as a script's concerned, so that can be good or bad for us.
Okay. Well, we'll just start, shooting the breeze here.
It is what it is. But so we're going to talk a little bit about. Let's just start off with you. Recap you guys' season here for the boys here at for Grandview real quick.
Yeah. Well, we finished the year with 8 wins. And obviously, as any coach would say, over the course of the year, we had some real good days and we had some real bad days. But our goal was to try to be more competitive than we were last year. With it being year 2, it was time to take a step forward. Right? Last year was my first year. A lot of a learning curve. We had guys playing out of position and all kinds of stuff. We're trying to learn each other. So this year it was now honing what we learned last year and trying not to start from the beginning, right? Pick up where we left off. So we dealing with teenage guys and it's a long year. There were some days where it was really, like I said, really high and really low. We won some games that I think most people would have said we didn't have a chance at winning.
I think we were at one of these games that we were talking about.
I think you were. And then there were some other nights where it was, you go in feeling good about the evening and turn around when it's all over and go, oh my gosh, what a bad night for us, and come out on the wrong side of it. So it was sort of like rolling a pair of dice sometimes on what we were going to get.
Would you say that happens to almost every school in high school?
I think so, and I think I'm sure we'll get into it, but the large school versus the small school, how many kids you got, what everybody's margin for error changes. Sure. So, an off night for, let's say, and I know they're not in our area, but like a school like Sykeston or something like that, an off night for them doesn't always result in a loss. Yeah. Where an off night for somebody else is always going to be. You got to be on or you're not going to win.
I agree.
So we talked about that too. Our margin of victory our margin of error, is small. So it was all about controlling the controllables. And the nights that we did that, we usually played well. We didn't always win, but you feel good at the end of a night, even if you don't lose. Being able to look in the mirror and say, I definitely did everything I could. Yeah. And then the nights when you don't control the controllables are where you're kicking yourself. Whether you lose by a ton or lose by a little, either way, you feel like you could have done a lot more. Right.
Well, injuries play a factor, and sickness plays a factor throughout the season. I know you guys got hit with the injury bug there. David Creeth going down, and how's he doing, by the way?
Good. He's been back at school the last couple of days moving around. He just had surgery, I think, last Thursday for his ACL. So he's going to do everything he can to get back. He's a football guy first. Yeah. So we're hoping he can get back on the football field. His goal is to play at the next level. Yeah. And it'll be not impossible, but tougher not playing a senior year. So
I was going to ask, that's a senior year next year?
Next year he'll be a senior. So hopefully he can, he's already got some open doors, I'm sure. Dave Dallas, who you mentioned, is a great connection to have. He knows lots of people. And David's put out a good body of work so far, but we hope that just for his sake, senior year of high school, man, you want to be out there on a football field. So I'm hoping he can recover. I don't know if he will or not. It just kind of depends on how his body takes the surgery.
Takes time.
So
good deal. And so we're going to just dive straight in here, and we're going to get the final standings here of each conference. We're going to start with the large school girls.
Sure.
And it looks like this: Perryville went 4-0. Festus 3-1. Yep. Windsor 1-3. DeSoto 2-2. Hillsboro 0-4.
Yep.
the long and short of all of this going into the playoffs for district, Festus came out of all of that in the second round, lost in the second round. Every single team, Perryville, Windsor, DeSoto, Hillsboro, bounced in the first round there. So it's kind of disappointing, I'm sure, for a lot of those large school girls.
Yeah.
Any standouts that you saw about this season with large school?
I should have been plugged in more to the large schools, especially. I feel like I didn't get to watch as much as I normally do this year. So I really, without any knowledge of anybody, I won't be able to speak very well. I wouldn't say that I have a great knowledge. Hillsboro, just because I'm from there, I know their team a little bit better, and obviously, they finished 0-4 here. I know a couple of those girls. I feel like I heard good things about the Perryville squad, but one thing I do notice is that all of those are under 500 records, which is going to make it tough come district time. And again, I don't know what their strength of schedule looks like, if they're playing a bunch of tough teams or not. And I'm sure these guys are in different districts,
right? Oh yeah.
So they're not playing each other necessarily, but that does make it tough. When if you're gonna finish, I think, what is that, 43% for Perryville? You're again gonna have to have good nights come district time. And if the ball's not going in, or we're a little slow defensively, it's probably gonna be tough.
Yeah. We saw a little bit, just covering them in the JCAA shootout for the last time. Kind of that similar situation where you saw some of the smaller schools beating the larger schools. So
and we have some good small schools this year, and I know the talent fluctuates at the smaller school level just because you have less kids, and it just depends. But like Grandview, our girls have been super competitive the last 3 or 4 years. I know Herky is a monster. Those guys, Grandview and Herky, have had some battles. So, and I feel like one of the other small, maybe Jefferson this year wasn't.
St. Pius too.
St. Pius, yes. And Jefferson maybe this year wasn't quite as salty, but I feel like the last couple haven't they had some real good athletes?
Yeah, they had
last 2 or 3 years.
They got Lainey Smith coming back again next year.
Right,
So
and she's really I know her name. So
we're going to jump right in, segue right to the small schools here. You see Herculaneum 5-0, St. Pius 4-1, Grandview 3-2, St. Vincent 2-3. Jefferson 1-4, Crystal City 0-5. And the funny thing about this is you saw Grandview, the 3-2 team, make it farther than Herculaneum in the districts. Crystal City went farther than with an 0-5 school record, and so they made it into the sectionals.
Right, and that's great for them. And what's crazy about this, the conference and district thing, is so like when you try to explain it to somebody who hasn't grown up in it or whatever, I use my mom as an example sometimes, or like my sister who wasn't into sports. It's like, oh no, that's our conference, not our district.
Right.
So and the classes change, right? I believe that Crystal City is a lower class, even though they're in the same district. So that changes the entire scope. So they probably benefit from playing the schools like the conference schools who are a class higher than them when come district time. So while you end up with the 0-5, you also end up with a district title and a sectional appearance.
Right.
Which one would you rather have?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you go big or go home. It's kind of one of those things. And when you play the tougher teams on purpose for that reason, that's why it ends up with the result that it's in.
And some of them, I guess, aren't by choice, right? The conference games, you don't have a choice one way or the other.
The conference games.
But it does end up hopefully benefiting you come district time, because if you can keep your mind right in those grinding months of January and February when it's always conference games and everybody's a bigger school than you and you're battling,
right,
it really you reap what you sowed come district time like they did. So congratulations to them on a district title and a sectional appearance. That's big time.
Absolutely. Let's move over to the gentlemen, and we'll start with the large schools here. Hillsboro 4-0.
Yep.
Not anything new there. Windsor 2-2. Festus 3-1, DeSoto 1-3, Perryville 0-4, and you saw 5 teams here that were split in 3 different districts here.
Right.
Windsor and Festus together, Hillsboro, DeSoto together, Perryville on their own. Everybody bounced the first round except for Hillsboro. They make it all the way to the champion. They make it to the championship game and run into the buzzsaw that is Park Hills. And the funny thing about it was they beat Park Hills like 2 weeks prior.
So here's the kicker on that deal. And again, Hillsboro for me is my biggest plug, just because that's where I went. I still have some relationships with coaches and stuff there. I first want to shout out Jason Gilman, who took on the Windsor job this year. I thought did a really good job with that group, and they performed better than they have in a while. pulled out a 500 season. They play some of those northern schools, and he did a good job with that group. But so the Hillsboro Park Hills thing, which is the funny thing, is I went and watched because it was Hillsboro's senior night.
Okay.
So I watched them play Park Hills, and Park Hills is missing 2 starters.
Oh, wow.
To flu or whatever, that crazy thing that was going around.
Okay.
It hit us. I think it hit everybody. Everybody had guys sick. So that was their turn to hit it. And so they're missing, I think, 2 starters. Do a great job. Alan Davis is an awesome coach, does a good job of kind of piecing the puzzle together. They play super competitive all night. It ends up being, I think, a 2-possession, 3-possession game, whatever. And then you fast forward, whatever it was, 14 days, 17 days, district championship time. Well, now 2 Hillsboro starters are sick. They played, but they may as well not have. I think so. Mark Moore, who's the conference MVP, I believe, and then Evan Worley, who's the 6'7" kid. I think those 2 combined to average like 23 or 24 a night. I think they got 3 in the district title game.
Oh, wow.
So it ends up being you both had a turn at the flu, and, good timing for one of you, bad timing for the other one.
Right.
So,
and I believe, if I remember right, Park Hills moved on to the next round. They got bounced, too.
Yeah.
So it's
and those are always tough. The sectional matchup out of here out of Jefferson County is always tough. Yeah. We won a district title when I was a sophomore and got Imagine Prep. And the next round, Martavian Payne was my age as a sophomore. He got like 28.
Wow.
As a sophomore, he ended up going to Division I. Like, it's always a tough sectional game. And then if you go another round after that, it's whether it's St. Mary's or Sykeston or whatever order you get them in. I mean, they're mammoth games.
Yeah, you saw last year Hillsboro drawing St. Mary's that first round. Yeah, we were at that game, and you see Yuri Collins,
who's a Division I point guard.
Who's playing for SLU right now.
Right.
And he didn't even play the first half.
No, he's playing hurt.
And he dropped 47.
Yeah,
in the second half.
Unbelievable talent.
And I was just like, unbelievable. And we interviewed him. He's like, hey, it's just what we do, type thing.
He's an unbelievable talent. And Fred Thatch from Sykeston, who is at SLU also. Just a couple years ago, my brother graduated in 2018, played for Hillsboro, so he played with like Gavin Pinkley, who is a University of Central Missouri Division II guy. Wow. And it's still like those are mammoth matchups between you got for real deal Division I guys out there.
You ain't playing.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
So I think they ended up losing by 1 or 2 to Sykeston, and it was a last possession type deal, and they played outstanding, and it's still all you can do to just barely try to to get a win.
There it is.
So they're tough next round games, but
let's move on to your favorite division right here.
Here we go. This is it.
Here it is. Okay, so they've got this kind of bounced around here. Herculaneum probably should be on the bottom.
It was a total just whirlwind of.
It was, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season. We said, St. Pius might have a little bit of an edge. And we didn't even take in the St. Vincent factor.
Well, and it's not fair to St. Vincent that they're so far away because they always get forgotten in conversations, and Bruce has had them competitive since the beginning of time. It feels like they're never not good. Yep. But they're just so far. It's not so much that they're so far away; it's everybody else is within a stone's throw of each other.
Right.
So we always talk about each other and forget about them. But St. Pius obviously always, or with the group they had this year, feels like they kind of had. At the beginning of the year, like you were saying, a little bit of an edge.
And no disrespect to St. Vincent, because
of course not.
We love Bruce down there.
Well, you can't disrespect. Look at the record.
5-0, right? 20-7 on the season.
No disrespect to be given.
Exactly. So here we go. 5-0 for St. Vincent. 4-1 for St. Pius. Jefferson 3-2. Crystal City 2-3. We're going to put Grandview above Herculaneum there at 1-4. Herky 0-5.
Nice little ladder situation.
Right. So we took a look at you guys early in the season at the Rolla Herbert tournament, and I believe you won the first round, right? Was that a win?
We got actually St. Vincent in the first round.
Okay. But you did win the second game.
We beat Crystal City by like 3 in the second game, in a pretty close. They got the last shot, so a close one, and then laid at what we call an egg in the third game against Herky.
So you guys split for the season with Herky.
Herky and us did, yeah.
And
only theirs was more. Well, I don't know if theirs was more fun, but they beat us by like 30 on the first game. I think we beat them by 3.
Gotcha. I understand. So there you go.
But yeah, that was one of the nights where it's like, hey, not that we ever feel like we're out of it. Like you feel like if the ball's going to go open at 0-0 when it starts, you got a chance.
Right.
But that was probably one where it was the second night for us of a quadruple header. So we had a late night the night before over at Crystal City and did not play well, and Crystal played very well and kicked our behinds, and then we show up here, and out of nowhere it's like, hey, we're making shots and we're playing defense and we're in it, and that was a fun game. And I was glad to have you guys covering it because I got to rewatch it with the sound and you guys announcing and everything. It That was a good one.
Yeah, and I remember Herculaneum they were going through that sickness
they
too.
had a little
Jordan
bit of a
Duncan was
bug.
playing with the bug, and I think he only maybe had 10 points, but still 10 points with the bug isn't bad.
Well, he finished with 23
Did he
with
have-
the bug,
oh, okay.
so yeah, maybe a little help for us that he
Yeah.
it might have been 23 without the bug. So, and I think they were even missing one of their guys, one of their rotation guy. I can't think of his name. Right now. Number 3. I know his number.
Grant
McCullough.
McCullough. Yeah.
Aha. Yes, they were
I
missing
knew it
him
was a
also.
Mick there. Yeah, he
So-
was sick too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
And we had guys that were either playing sick or were about to be sick or had just gotten over it. It was brutal. So
Unbelievable. So we'll pop this back up here. We'll let you know. I think Grandview, Herculaneum, all knocked out. Crystal City knocked out in the and Jefferson
district championship game
yeah.
for Crystal City.
And I
right?
believe even St. Vincent knocked out. I don't think they made it into their out of their district either. So St. Pius, the only one left, they go and they beat the number 1 seed, Steelville.
In a thriller.
It was a thriller. And for anybody that's watching over Steelville, we love the Steelville folks. But I saw the shot. It was good that he didn't make it in time. So
it was very close, and what a way to end it, and to not have the replay and stuff. But the most telling thing, because I wasn't actually there, I stayed at the beginning. I had to go. I had a family commitment, so I didn't get to watch the whole game. And you can't quite. It's so loud in there that you can't hear it on the live stream.
Yeah.
But I think the most telling thing about it, for all of the speculation at first, was the reaction of the kids on the court, because there are a couple Steelville kids who know it didn't get off in time, and you can see their body language, and a couple St. Pius kids, you can see their body language. So I was like, before even seeing it, I was like, oh, he didn't get off in time. Everybody's celebrating. It was close, but it was what a thriller though.
Yeah.
That's a classic,
I mean,
instant classic.
I don't know why we talk about that with St. Pius. We had an instant classic in football. We had an instant classic that game. Even the Ava game after that. The Ava
was
game
pretty
out
nuts,
at
I heard.
S&T. Yeah, I mean, they had a chance to win it there.
Yeah.
Riley Nigger has the ball in the corner with 3 seconds to go, 4 seconds to go, or something like that.
down
just
1 or
missed
2,
the 3.
right? Yeah,
they were just down 1.
Yeah.
And missed the 3. And Caden Cook tried to get that rebound and couldn't get it up in time. And so nothing to be ashamed of. That was just an amazing run. For St. Pius to make it that far. And
they've got a great group of kids, and you got to give credit to the kids and credit to the coaches, the coaching staff. Coach Miller, who I know he still works here, so he's a colleague of mine.
Yeah, we saw him earlier.
Does a great job with that group, and to be able to keep kids in it, and play too. Like you hear about the emotional high. It's hard to come play another game after the emotional high of a game like that. Yeah. Come right out ready to fight again. That's a great job by all those guys. So
awesome.
It would have been cool to see him move on one more round, and see what happens there. But Charleston, you want to talk about a buzzsaw. Charleston's a buzzsaw now.
Yeah, Ava came in and didn't know what hit him, and pretty much that was all she wrote as far as that was concerned. They got bounced, and we were able to cover down the ladies' game, Licking and Saxon Lutheran, a rematch from last year, and it's I'm not sure if you're familiar with Carly Holland, but Carly Holland. Big win last year. I think she had 23, 24 points last year. This year she got hurt the second quarter. We thought she tore her knee up real bad, and I mean she was wailing. They get her off the court. They get her to halftime. She comes walking back out the second half. She sat a little bit for 4 or 5 minutes, I guess, the second half. Came back and I think she dropped something like 21, 23 points. And they come back and won that game, and that was another one of those. And my wife texted me while we were broadcasting, and she says, "Hey, she said, I want to know if she talked to Mr. Miyagi about getting her knee fixed, and whatnot." And I was just like, that's exactly what that was like. And I was just like, talk about just a trooper. Now they're in the Final Four. They actually were supposed to play tonight. I don't know if they're going to get the game in. Yeah. Just because of all the stuff going on. Right. But and we'll give you some updates on that. Let's talk about the Scott the Cop Classic real quick.
I'd love
to. We're going to be here tonight. 6:30 is the start time.
That is the start time, and we don't know when it's going to end. We hope.
There it is. Okay.
So the Scott the Cop Classic. So obviously, based on the name, it's all our student resource officer here at Grandview. Initially wanted to have like a little bit of a for fun. It started totally innocent. Like, let's just have like a little staff first students game to raise some money for prom was the initial idea. Well, then we start getting into everybody wants to play, and how are we going to have a game that's long enough for everybody can play, but us old people don't die because we're playing for like 3 hours. And so,
you're not getting me out there.
Again, all credit goes to him in terms of creativity and coming up with. He's like, well, we could have him have like a battle of the classes tournament, right? So that way now everybody can play. Now you got to play with your class, kind of a deal. Then we had sort of a tragedy within our district. Technically, the family isn't still with our district, but they were for a long time, and the older, like the grandparents and the parents, are really involved.
Right.
So they had their house caught on fire. They lost everything. So the school had started to raise money, and he was like, well, let's raise money for them.
Right.
So now it's become more of a community outreach. Like, let's rally around this family that needs help, see what we can do. So again, an idea that started as innocent and almost silly. When the stakes were raised a little bit, we were like, well, let's blow it up as much as we can. Let's be as dramatic as we can about it. So we've got promotion videos. I think we've made 3 like promos. The students have come back and made 2 of their own. So there are 5 total videos that have been made for this silly thing. And we're trying to get everybody to come out tonight to have some fun. So yeah, at 6:30 it'll kick off like a battle of the classes deal. So the sophomores and juniors will play, and the winner will move on to the championship. Then the freshmen and the sophomores will play. Or I'm sorry, the freshmen and the seniors will play. And the winner of that game will move on to the championship. Those 2 teams will play, and the winner of that game gets to play the staff. So we're trying to wear them out before they get to us. It was really strategic.
I see how y'all work. You stack the deck, right?
Exactly. The officiating will probably not be very fair in the 3rd game. I would imagine it's going to be very slanted in our favor. But yeah, so
who wants to walk into a rigged game, right?
Well, no, we do. I won't walk into anything that's not rigged, I don't think, at this point.
I got
So we're excited. Yeah, the goal is all fundraising, and we want it to be fun. We've been all over the kids that are non-basketball players. Like, you need to come play. It'll be so fun.
Right.
So we're hoping it's more like an all-star game feel, where it's just people are laughing and having a blast.
Right.
Hopefully it's a little competitive at the end, but it's mostly people laughing at themselves and just having a good time, I hope. So we're going to make it as fun as we can make it, as goofy as we can make it.
Good stuff. Well, Taylor, thanks so much for popping in here and catching up with us, and we'll see you again tonight here.
Sure.
We'll probably grab you from time to time.
Sure.
Just come on, jump on the headset, and just laugh it up and have a good old time, right?
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have a blast.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Taylor Hassell from the Grandview Eagles boys basketball team, and we're gonna step aside for just a quick second. And again, don't forget at 6:30 tonight, Scott the Cop Classic. Say that 10 times faster.
First annual
the
Scott the Cop Classic, baby.
6:30 will be right here at on Livestream STL. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Rand, I'll say real quick, I really admire what you guys do with this. I think everybody who's ever tuned into one of these, whether it's a Legion game, whether it's a high school baseball game, with basketball, football, whatever it is, I've heard nothing but tremendous feedback about Livestream STL and what you guys do and the quality of production, things like that. I would really encourage anybody who's involved in athletics throughout the county, or really anywhere in the metro area, anybody who's interested in sponsoring activities, to get on board and get involved with this. I think it's added a ton to what we do here. It's added a ton to the program. You guys are a class act, and you're committed to doing things the right way, and we really appreciate that.
This Livestream STL has been a huge asset for Jefferson County sports, in my opinion. I mean, getting these athletes the camaraderie that they're out there and people can see them. I mean, to be honest with you, I got a call from a coach yesterday about one of my athletes that said that they saw some of her games on Livestream STL.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that right there instilled to me that this is important. This is important for those kids. And so, I think it's great, and I wish you guys the best. And if you're out there and you want to sponsor, this is a great opportunity for kids to support kids of our local kids and get them support and get them acknowledgement out there, because we have a lot of great athletes in this county.
We appreciate that. And at the end of the day, our mission is much the same as your missions, coaches, to help shine a light on these kids. And get them exposure and get their name out there and help them. And if they can advance, they're better off, we're better off as a community, and that's why we're here.
And we are back here. Thanks for tuning in to Main Street Sports here. We have Coach Jeff Ketcherside from the Grandview Eagles boys baseball team. How you doing, Coach?
Okay, how you doing?
Hey, it's about time for baseball.
Yes, it is. And we've been really quite lucky with the weather so far.
Coach, we're going to dive right straight in here, and I'm revamping questions from Jeff Whitener, so he's going to be probably grading me on a curve here, I hope.
Okay.
A little bit. But 2019, let's go back a year ago. Your record 4-13-1, 0-4 in the conference. Eagles lost 5 seniors to graduation from the roster of 15. You guys were averaging 5 runs a game and averaging 10 runs on giving up on defense. Coach, before we get started, give me a preview of or before we give you a preview of the 2020 Eagles team, give us a quick recap of last year.
Well, we had some freshmen come in that started for us. One of my better players, that was a senior. We was playing in a tournament down Kentucky, and he pulled his hamstring. So he was limited almost half the year or more. There was times when he did get back, he just batted and pretty much was just from base to base. We really had to watch him. And he was an all-conference player for me, so it was that was a big hit.
Right.
The 5 seniors, a good group of boys, great boys. 2 of them went on to join the military. The one boy I was talking about, Colton McAnally, he's at the down at the school, the Ozarks, going to school.
Great.
Just very good kids. There was times that we just struggled a bit. Just never got on a roll where we could get that roll going and keep the momentum going.
I understand. And sometimes you go through those ebbs and flows, especially in the baseball season. You are entering your 3rd season at the reins of the Eagles program here. What are some of the big challenges you face in working to restore a winning tradition here at Grandview?
Well, it's tough. You got to have kids that play a lot. You got to have kids that are playing in summertime.
Right.
That are taking, going to pitching lessons or batting lessons.
Right.
And we have a good group of freshmen and sophomores that have a lot of experience in summertime. And I've kind of been, this is my 6th year at the program and working and been here for 6 years, so I got to know the kids coming through. And I know usually kind of keep an eye on what's coming up and if they play the select ball and summer ball. And I got a group of, last year I was lucky to have a group of sophomores come in that some of them played a lot of summer ball. And then this year I got another quite a good group of freshmen coming in that has played a lot of summer ball. And that's something you can't, you can't beat that when the more experience they get.
Right.
It's hard for kids to come in and, they're not, the first time they pick up a baseball is when practice starts.
Right.
We got to have, I started a program when my first year as a head coach. We do pitching in the mornings 2 days a week at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's been really helpful. Do some batting after school a little bit, and workouts and stuff. I do the weight room, after school weight room in the fall. So I get kids that come in, that baseball kids that aren't playing football, come in and we do some. I do a lot of baseball specific workouts.
Right.
For them. But it's a process. It's
Sure.
hard, when you got small classes and a small group to pick from. I noticed, I was looking around, and Hillsboro's got freshman, JV, and varsity teams. We haven't played JV innings in about 2 or 3 years now. Hopefully this year, the numbers up a little bit. About 18 or 19 players.
Okay.
And we're in the past we've had 13 or 14.
Gotcha.
So hopefully we can maybe get some JV Indians in after the varsity games, and maybe even schedule some couple JV games,
Right.
which helps out a lot. The more you get out there and get the kids going, more kids you get in the program, it kind of gets a snowball effect.
Right.
I think.
Right.
It gets excitement a little bit. Every year we've had all conference players, since I've been coaching, even before I was coaching with the other coaches. We had all conference players, so that helps out.
Sure.
When the kids they know gets their recognition in the paper and on the radio, so that really helps out.
Yeah.
So it's just it takes time sometimes. It's it can't just build. To build a program, it's not happening overnight.
Right. This kind of ties into the next question that I've got here. What do you feel it will take for the program here at Grandview to return to contend for a conference title?
The kids have to work hard, and buy in. They they have to get the mindset that a lot of baseball is mental, and they have to get the mindset that they can do it.
Right.
They can beat teams. I want to get it where we start playing maybe some of the bigger schools. I want to get to that level where we're not just playing. I mean, we always play. Nothing against the small schools. But I mean, Herky with Coach Bones got an unbelievable program, and Jefferson is an awesome program. St. Vincent's and Crystal's always got. But when you can start playing bigger schools, sometimes then bigger schools get you can get maybe a little more recognition there.
I understand.
And maybe even playing some school. It takes a while, but if you get good enough where you play some schools out of the city,
Yeah.
out of the county,
Helps.
where they get the big press.
Right.
Right. And Coach Alan Davis is a friend of mine, for a long time, and when he was a long-time coach at DeSoto, that's where he said his took off when he started going playing the basketball program at DeSoto when they were going so good was when he started playing in the city. You just get more ink.
Yeah, and it's one of those things because when you know that you're playing, your conference rivals or your conference teams in your in the conference here, the familiarity it's kind of lackluster, so to speak. After a while, well, I already know what to try to throw at this guy because he's either hit off me really, really well, or I know exactly where to hit. But that you up north, and there's just that unknown.
Yeah.
And so the unknown it makes you sharpen all of the tools of your just the things that you do, and makes you pitch better, makes you hit better, makes you feel better.
Yeah, and then they get the mindset that we can compete with them. Even if you go up there and lose, but you compete hard with them and stay with them, then that makes a big difference.
Good stuff. Give us a few players returning this season, and how can they contribute to the program?
Well, the main one's Ethan Mollard, my senior. He started 4 years. He's been a all-conference first team and second team outfielder for the last 2 years. Left-handed pitcher, lively arm. He'll be the ace. Works real hard. I mean, he's the one that plays a lot, goes to batting coach, goes to pitching coaches. And it starts with him, Right. And I expect to have a big season from him,
Good.
And he's been unbelievable this year as senior. You know how kids are. Sometimes they need a little growing up a little bit sometimes,
Sure.
and he's really did an unbelievable job making a jump the last couple of years.
Good.
So it starts with him. A couple my younger guys. I got a senior that started his first 2 years, and decided last year's junior year that he needed to work. He had some stuff and wanted to make some money in Dylan Barker, and he's back playing this year.
Great.
He was my starting third baseman as a sophomore, and excuse me, and did some pitching for me. And he's back this year, and that makes a big difference. You know, when you lose a kid that you can pencil in right off the bat,
Right.
that you know that from the year before. So he's back, and that really helps out. He's going to be a big addition, help out. And then we got a bunch of younger sophomores and freshmen. Chase Wilson, who plays a lot, plays for Festus Legion. He was an honorable mention, shortstop as a freshman last year. Can be an unbelievable player.
Right.
I look for him to make the big jump from freshman to sophomore year.
Awesome.
And he showed signs last year of, as a freshman, as playing shortstop, as being a leader on the infield. And, you know, for a freshman, it's rare to do that. So I'm looking for big things from him.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I have another kid, a sophomore, who was in the district. All these boys, I coached middle school basketball for quite a few years, so I know them all.
Yeah,
you know, and
sure,
I know their personalities.
Sure.
And I got one sophomore that I coached in middle school, and he moved away for a year and moved back. And Eric O'Brien, a left-hander, played football, played basketball. He just athletic, quick. He's one of them kids that runs through the wall for you.
Yeah.
And so he's going to really help out this year too.
Good deal. You have a surprise player, possibly, maybe even a freshman, that you think can make a huge impact for the Eagles varsity team.
Well, I'm going to rely on freshmen. I could say I might start. I could start up to 3 freshmen. Trenton Cookerly is a player who's athletic. Played basketball for me in junior high. Plays in the city, select for the Gamers. Throws really good, really hard. Will play shortstop for me too, and some outfield. He and when he's not pitching, and so I'm expecting some things from him. You know, so it's tough when you're a small school, and I tell these guys it's not fair for you, but as a freshman you got to step up.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a bigger school, you might be playing freshman or a JV. Here, you don't have that luxury.
Right.
You know, Levi LeBlanc, who mom works here, and he started coming to my pitching, morning pitching stuff when he's in 8th grade. And so that said a lot. He buys in.
Right.
And he plays for the Soda Legion. Will play this summer. And I expect him to he can play the outfield. He'll pitch for me, play some infield.
Great.
And then another one's going to play the Soda Legions, Jace Poole. All these guys, he's another one, a lot of experience in summer ball. And that helps out, makes a difference, you know, for me. You know, I tell the kids, you know, that I want you to go, if you got a hitting coach, a pitching coach, that doesn't bother me at all. It makes my job easier.
Yeah, right.
You know, so.
I get it. Tell us maybe a goal or two that maybe philosophy change or anything that you want to implement this year that might be different from the years past.
Well, I play small ball. You know, I grew up watching Whitey play.
Okay.
You know.
All right.
And
ain't nothing wrong with that.
And I was, you know, and I like to run. I like to steal, hit and run, make things happen on the bases, make the defense make mistakes. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes you get caught. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Yeah, that's the way it is.
All right.
But so and the team speed this year is the best that we've had so far, I think, since I've been as far as the head coach, and I'm excited about that.
Great.
And in my first year, I had a pretty good class of seniors that first year. We won 7 games that first year, and I think this group hopefully can meet or beat that expectations there.
Great. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into coaching baseball.
Well,
put you on the spot.
I got a crazy background. I grew up playing baseball. You know, I went to work at the Chrysler assembly plant when I was 18.
Okay.
Got married young when I was 18.
All right.
Worked there for 25 years and until they shut the plants down. And instead of relocating out of state, I had daughters, one going into her senior year at DeSoto, two younger ones in elementary. I had two daughters that graduated. So to relocate for me was a hard decision.
Yeah.
5 years of retirement from
Sure.
but but mentally I was burnt out with that type of thing, and so I took advantage of the government stuff to go to school, and just kind of Coach Davis ended up out here, and kind of asked me if I was interested, and they had a job out here for me if I was interested,
Right.
and I'd helped him with his last year at DeSoto basketball, and he knew I was more of a baseball guy,
Gotcha.
And so, he said there's a spot for be assistant coach, and so it's something when you get a certain age, you get older, that you want to do stuff that so you won't have any regrets later on.
Right.
I
Understand.
when you work, I worked at Chrysler for the money. Now I work for the happiness.
I understand. I completely understand that. Final question here. What do you like to do outside of coaching baseball? Hobbies or interests?
Well, like a lot of, I hunt. I like to deer hunt. We just we moved a couple years ago down to a little small farm, so we're starting that up. Coach Davis has kind of got me into the cow thing. So
There you go.
when I get set up, he's big into that.
Right.
So when I get the place set up, I'll start on that a little bit, and I still help him out with that on his place.
It's good.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, sure.
With 5 daughters, it's I raised 5 daughters, so
Wow.
they're all out. My youngest one played here. Now she's finished. She finished up her last year playing volleyball at MAC. So we were always busy running,
Right.
watching games and
Right.
and everything. And now that's over with. But my daughter that I have a daughter that actually played some college basketball and volleyball. She was the head volleyball coach here,
Great.
and she just had a grandson.
Nice.
So I tried 5 times to get a son. I got 5 daughters. So now I finally got a grandson.
There you go. Nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. I kid around with the family saying I only have to coach about another 17 more years to be able to coach my grandson through high school. But we'll see how that goes.
Right. I understand it. Making a little adjustment here because the sun just popped out of the windows over there. So there we go. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming by and just catching up with us. And you're like the first one here for our preview for 2020. And we're going to get Coach Jeffries here in just a second to hit up the girls softball. And good luck to you this season. I know we've got a couple of games with you, and I know we're finishing up the end of the season out at GCS with you again like we did last year, which was fun.
That's always a fun time. Jeff helps out there and does a great job. He's what you guys do for Jefferson County sports, it doesn't go unnoticed by the coaches in all sports.
Yeah,
all
I appreciate
sports.
that.
I have a lot of friends that are head basketball coaches, and I've been of course around Jefferson County all my life and followed all kinds of sports even before I got into the coaching. So what you guys do to help promote it with the kids is unbelievable, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
For you guys to take your time and what you do is awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah, well, we try, we work hard, and we think they deserve it. The kids deserve to be able to be seen, and if we can turn out kids in the community to better them, get them in college, and make them a better citizen, that's the key. For us, so.
Yeah. That with coaching, that's the main thing. You want them to be able to prepare them. Not all kids are going to go to college and play the sport they're in.
Right.
You want to prepare them for life afterwards. But with you guys showcasing them, maybe we won't hear so much, well, they're just a Jefferson County player.
Right. That's good. That's a real key point. That,
You know what I mean?
I mean, for years we've gone without having any kind of coverage, let alone you get a little radio here and there, and that is kind of regional too, and no, not knocking the radio, not knocking the paper or anything like that. Paper's once a week.
Yeah.
So
And
it's we're able to do this every day.
Right.
So, I mean, a couple days ago we were over at St. Pius doing some things over at their place and Herculaneum and all over the place. So it's just a cool thing that we're being able to just kind of open up with this, and things are starting to roll with it now. So.
Well, yeah, I think it has, and anything that that I can do to help you guys out, I'll be more than happy to help out.
Absolutely.
I mean, like I said, I can't say enough of what you guys do. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. So we're going to step out of here, and I'm going to have Coach Don Jeffries from the Lady Eagles coming in and talk to us a little bit about girls softball. We will be right back in just a minute.
That Rand, I'll say real quick, I really admire what you guys do with this. I think everybody who's ever tuned into one of these, whether it's a Legion game, whether it's a high school baseball game, with basketball, football, whatever it is, I've heard nothing but tremendous feedback about Livestream STL and what you guys do and the quality of production, things like that. I would really encourage anybody who's involved in athletics throughout the county, really anywhere in the metro area, anybody who's interested in sponsoring activities to get on board and get involved with this. I think it's added a ton to what we do here. It's added a ton to the program. You guys are a class act, and you're committed to doing things the right way, and we really appreciate that.
All right, we are back here, and thanks again for tuning in to Main Street Sports. We have right now with us athletic director, activities director here at Grandview High School, home of the Grandview Eagles here, Don Jeffries. Don, how are you, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Awesome. And we're going to dive in here. We don't get a whole lot of the spring coverage like we'd like, because there's only two teams in the Jefferson County Conference that are playing spring ball right now, but we do like to cover Crystal City and Grandview when we can, and so we're going to dive right in here and talk to you about last season a little bit here. Had a pretty fair, above 500 season, which is great here. In 2019, at a glance here, you were 10-8. You lost four seniors to graduation of a roster of 18. You guys were averaging, I don't know how, well, I didn't have the average on there. I should just scratch that off on what you guys were making as far as, you got stats off how many runs
as
you were
far
averaging?
as how many runs per game we scored?
You probably
we were probably double digits or
okay,
very close
double digits.
to it.
Okay, and so I would imagine probably less than double digits on defense, giving up runs here with a 10-8 record. Let's see here. Before we get started to preview the 2020 season, let's talk about the 2019 season. Give us a recap real quick of the 2019 season.
It was a season that had a lot of youth that really stepped up for us. And also we had some seniors that really went out on a high note. I would say that would be how I would really describe the season. I feel like on most days we could put a lot of runs on the board. We had some injuries that made some situations where young people had to go in there and pitch, and they did a good job. And really stepped up, and one of our catcher actually became one of our top pitchers the second half of the year. And it's a team that faced a little adversity, but they fought through it, and we had a what I would call a pretty good season. Like you said, 10-8, lost a close one in districts to Valley in a 4-5 matchup, and with us being in what I consider the toughest district in the state of Missouri, when you have Potosi, Park Hill Central, St. Genevieve, and Valley, Crystal City, they have a great pitcher there as well. I mean, that is a stacked district where there were some girls that on any of these teams that made second team all district that may have been first team all district players in neighboring districts. And not to put those districts down, but when you have the team that finished third in the state and was ranked number 1 the entire calendar year until they lost in the semifinals in Potosi, I mean, that is a loaded district. And we'll find out at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning what district we'll be going into.
Great.
We're excited. Wherever we go, we're going to give it our best shot, no doubt about it. And we're excited about what we have coming back in this 2020 campaign.
Awesome. You're entering your second year at the helm here for the Lady Eagles. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in working to restore a winning tradition here at Grandview?
Well, it's a young program. It's only the 5th year of the program. 10 wins matched the season record for most wins in a season last year. Replacing some of our seniors that left will be a tough chore, but we have some young kids that are ready for the challenge. Alyssa Cole, who was a 4-year starter, was a center fielder and a leadoff hitter for us. She has a strong arm, lightning quick feet, great glove, can run with the best of them when it comes to the offensive side of the ball as well. But we have a few kids that are going to be able to step up there. Carmen Boyer was an all-district infielder last year, second-team all-district infielder, batted .358, had an on-base of .443, 18 RBIs. And she's seen a lot of time in the preseason at center field, and she can run it down and with the best of anybody out there. So she's making a little bit of a transition to the outfield, and she's going to play some infield as well. Autumn Stotts, Megan Jones, those are players that are going to step up this year. Megan Jones started in 70% of our games last year, was an academic all-state player, and she had a big hit in our district matchup against Valley as well to get us an RBI against a tough Valley pitcher. So we're going to have some kids that are coming into their own and have to replace the big spot that we have out there. Anytime you lose a 4-year starter, that's definitely tough to fill.
Right.
And then we have at first base, Shelby Chastain has the big shoes of filling in for Katie Husky, who has gotten off to a good start in her college career as a volleyball player at Hannibal Grange College, Hannibal Grange University. It was college when I went there, but she's done a great job this year. And the thing that I've noticed so far in this preseason is how much stronger these girls are, how much more confident they are. And I feel very good about what we have coming back, and it's going to be the adversity of also for some of these kids. We have 13 girls on our roster, and seven of those girls are track athletes as well. And when you basically are in a competition almost every single day and trying to get ready for 2 different sports in the preseason, that's a lot of adversity that you have to go through. And when you see like a Jordan Zoff be second team all district, considering probably the other girls that she was working against as far as that infield spot, as far as the district voting goes, we're probably getting twice as many reps. That tells you how good of an athlete Jordan Zoff is. Coming off a good basketball season, all-state in the javelin, and then all-district in softball. It just goes to show that you have to put your mind to it that we're going to excel at both of these, and we have a lot of girls that do.
You talk about Jordan Zoff. I probably haven't ever asked her this question. What's her primary sport? Is it basketball? Is it baseball?
Do you mean softball?
Right, that's what I meant.
I would say track is probably her number one of all three.
Really?
Yeah.
So javelin.
She has the school record for javelin. She's been
Wow.
to the state meet 2 years in a row, and that should frighten base runners that want to try to steal against her as a catcher, because
don't run on her, right?
If she's throwing the javelin that
Right.
far, she's going to throw out some runners also when they try to steal against her this year. And she did a great job in softball as far as the offensive side of the ball goes. And you look at Jordan, 472 for an average and 18 RBIs, and that's her second best sport.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
a career in high school for a lot of kids.
Exactly. So give us maybe a goal or two for the season, maybe even a philosophy that you guys live by, or maybe something that might have changed that you might want to change this year as far as philosophy is concerned.
I think you go out there and you perform the best you can each and every day, and you try to win the at-bat. And if you win enough at-bats, you're going to have a good result as a team.
Gotcha.
You're going to have a great year as a player. One thing I monitor throughout the year is quality plate appearances. We talked about this at our parent meeting, that when you're in baseball or you're in softball, average shows a little bit of the story, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And when you look at an average, you could hit the ball on a button and it finds a glove, or
Right.
you could be moving a runner over from second to third and doing your job. We monitor the percent of quality plate appearances that we have. Another thing that we try to do and emphasize in a number of drills that we do, getting those runners home from third base with less than 2 outs. There's a lot of ways you can do that without getting a hit.
Right.
And when you can do that, we call that load-up time.
Yeah.
And every sport has its own load-up time. And I mean, you're loading up your stats on
Right.
that time. You know those basketball players that when it's a 4-point game, they hold on to the basketball because they know I'm going to get a bunch of free throws here and get my scoring average up. That running back that when you're up by 9 points in the fourth quarter, and I'm going to get the ball over and over and over again and put this game away. And also, I'm going to add to my stats there as well. When you have a runner on third base and less than 2 outs, you need to score that run 70% of the time.
Right.
Whether it's a ground ball in the infield, a fly ball to the outfield, or a base hit, there's a lot of ways that you can be productive, and that's something that we emphasize a lot.
Great. Sounds great. Tell us who you believe will be some of your team leaders this year.
I think you got to start with our all-region player, Natalie Moore, first of all. Natalie is coming off of a season that is just unbelievable. As far as I'm concerned, the number one stat that you can look at as far as being a productive baseball or softball player is OPS, on-base percentage plus slugging percentage. Last year, Natalie's on-base percentage was .725, among the best in the St. Louis area, which includes Illinois over there. She was a second-team All-Metro player for the Post-Dispatch. She was a dream teamer for regional radio. And then she had a slugging percentage of .1423. She had 7 home runs, 43 RBIs. So she was a person that anytime she stepped in the batter's box, she was looking to drive home runs, whether it was people on base or driving herself in. And when she didn't make All-State, I was there were probably 2 people that might have been a little more fired up than me, and maybe they weren't as fired up as I was about this, and that might be Natalie herself and her dad.
Yeah.
But I went back and I looked at the last 10 years on STL Today. I looked at every record in the Misha's record books.
Right.
In the last 10 years, there's only been 9 seasons that have had a better OPS than Natalie Moore had last year, and she didn't make All-State, which that is something that is something hopefully that will motivate her to go over the edge and make that a goal for her this year.
Sure.
And number one, like we said, have good quality plate appearances, good things happen, and she was one that was 95% on her quality plate appearances. Only had 1 strikeout last year. So she's one that we look at. Another one, Savannah Murray is probably going to be our number 1 pitcher. She's a pitcher that in the preseason so far, she's hitting the strike zone with a very consistent basis. has a good fastball, has a changeup. And Savannah's also one that will be able to produce and help her own cause. She can drive the ball to the wall and maybe beyond the wall. Right, we don't have our fence up yet, so I don't know as far as those things go. And she puts the ball in play. She's going to be a solid player for us. I've mentioned Carmen Boyer, Shelby Chastain. Megan Jones is one that's going to be out there in the outfield quite a bit. Last year, Megan was a player that didn't get as many at-bats as some of those players that I've mentioned before, but she's going to be one that we count on a daily basis, and we're looking forward to see what she brings to the table for sure when she gets an opportunity. Sarah Faust was one that was our leadoff hitter on occasion last year, our number 2 hitter, and she'll probably be one that could either be in that leadoff spot or somewhere up there towards the top. She's an all-state hurdler as well. She's coming off a first-team all-district basketball season, first-team all-conference basketball season, so got great athletes there. Autumn Stotts was one that was when we flexed, she would be out there on the defensive side and have a hitter for her. She's one that her swing looks really good coming into the season. Zoe Snyder is one that had some spot time last year, and she's going to see a lot of time out there. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of players that do contribute, and but if you ask as far as the leadership component, probably Moore, Zoff, and Murray are probably right there at the top of the list.
Perfect. Well, Coach, I would ask you what your interests are, but I already know what they are. You've been out lately?
I have. It's my one time to relax, and I'm not going to be watching a whole lot of the NCAA tournament.
Well,
I understand.
Obviously not.
So
No.
I'm going to have to find something to fill that time. My daughter is getting ready to. She's in summer mode a little bit. She's lost her first 2 teeth, and she's excited about the tooth fairy, finding out what that is. And she keeps me hopping and busy for sure.
Does. We're going to have her on one day because she'll take over the entire show.
She loves a microphone.
Yep,
There's no doubt about
that. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Coach Don Jeffries. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And
we're going to pop in. Yeah, we're going to pop in and have Dave Dallas come in real quick.
Absolutely.
We're just going to have him come straight in. I'm going to mute your mic real quick. Coach Dallas, come on up. We're going to come right straight in, and we're going to talk a little bit about the track and field sports out here at Grandview High School. Coach Dallas, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How you doing?
Hey, we've upgraded to some new microphones here.
Yeah, so I'm impressed.
You like that? You like that? So and that's because we've got great folks that love to give in to us covering the great community things out here. And
you're doing a great job with it.
We're having fun with it. We're having a lot of fun with it, and so I don't have a lot of detail on what's going on with the track program here, but Coach Don Jeffries said I'm willing to sacrifice a little time here to give it up to your.
I appreciate Mr. Jeffries
Coach
doing that, and it's been a kind of real exciting couple weeks we've had. We have over 70 high school kids out for track, right? About I think it's 71 exactly, but we have 71, and then we have about 110 altogether, my high school and middle school. So it's been a whirlwind for us. I mean, we just trying to get practice organized and do a good job. I think we're up in numbers, about 20 kids total with that compared to years past. So we feel real good about where we're at right there. We got some state qualifiers back from last year, so we feel real good about that. We got some we got some work to do, but they've done a great job. Mike Gins, Mike Lloyd, they did a great job building the track program, and I hope we just don't screw it up a whole lot. So, our kids have really bought into what we're doing and really appreciate what we're doing. So we just made some good strides the last couple of weeks. So we're anxious to. We're not in shape yet where we need to be track-wise, but those are things that we'll work on here in the next couple of weeks. So
you're hoping that the weather stays.
Yes, yeah.
With us
we can live with a day like today. It's warm enough to get out there and go, but that cold weather and rain kind of gets to us a little bit.
So give us. This is new to me. I just thought you were the football coach here.
Yeah.
No, you do it all.
Well, I actually I've worked with the throwers the last couple of years in track, and I was actually at Herculaneum. I was on a state championship track team there.
We know what that's all about over there.
Sprinter, and I was a thrower, and won the only state track champions
Yeah.
at Herculaneum in 1979. So
Nice.
So we just celebrated our big time 40-year deal. That Clark Willie was a great inspiration to me, track and
he's
wheel.
awesome, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. And he did a great job. And so I got a great background there, and I just have a passion. A couple of my kids one was a triple jumper, one was a jab thrower. So I got a chance to watch him a little bit when I was at the collegiate level doing that. So, but it's been fun just to watch it. And then with Mike leaving last year, it was late spring, and we didn't have anybody really in-house that could probably take it over, so I took it over. And I was head coach at North County in track as well.
Mm-hmm.
So not unfamiliar to that area, but it's certainly we got some good coaches, and they're doing a great job with us, and I just appreciate what they're doing. So
good stuff. So how many years total can you rack up how many years that you've actually coached track?
Coach track probably, let's see, about 7 probably total.
7, okay.
Yeah, because when I was at the high school level before, I coached it there.
Well, that's veteran status.
There's 2,
right there. Yeah.
4, 6, probably about 9 years, I guess. About
Oh, wow.
9, yeah, about 9, yeah.
You're definitely
Yeah.
in that
Yeah,
veteran.
I was at John Burroughs as track coach. At Rawl, I was a track coach.
Great,
so,
great.
Yeah.
So, all of the different schools that you were at. I mean, obviously, this is probably one of the smallest ones,
Right.
correct? What's the I guess the difficulties going from these larger schools over here to Grandview?
I think it's actually been a blessing for us because, I think the track program's been established. I mean, I think Mike Ginge did a good job getting it built up, and then Mike Lloyd did a good job last year with it. So I think those have been things that I inherited a good situation from those situations. So our numbers have been really good, and the kids have bought in, and the expectations there, and so that's made it a little bit easier transition from that standpoint. So, I mean, obviously we have 110 kids out for track at a small school like us. So
that's great.
I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of kids in 7 through 12. So
great. So tell us a little bit about this season. What your expectations might be.
I think we always want to try to win a district championship. We don't know if we're going to be a Class 3 team or a Class 2 team. We don't know where we're going to fall tomorrow. We'll find that out. But, we want to win a district championship and qualify for many kids at their state meet as possible. And we have a lot of great kids coming back off a team last year. The Fickey girl was an 8th place state qualifier last year. Our 4x8 team girl-wise was a qualifying team. That was Lainey Durker, Kristen Elder, Rebecca, and then Rebecca Wakeland, and then Taylor Fickey was there. And then Sarah Fouts qualified in the 110s last year, started 100s last year, so she'll be back. We look for big things from her. I mean, she had that experience to be at the state meet and be at that level. And Jordan Zoff was there with the javelin last year, so those are all kids that are back, and we're expecting big things. We got some senior guys out that I think will really kind of help us from that standpoint. Jacob Brands was a quarterback for us in football. He's a junior that is a very good sprint kid for us. Aiden Bergner was a kid that returned last year that's going to be a big plus. Zach Perrin was just a needle away from qualifying for the state last year in the triple jump.
Wow!
So we got him back, and I think he'll be a state qualifier this year.
That's great.
Hunter Roth as a senior kid that really developed this year. So those are kids. Justin Fitzsimmons is a kid that played basketball, came out for track, and looks really good. So it's add some depth to our sprinting situation. Riker Wright is another kid, a junior kid that's been out and doing a really good job out there. Jared Lattimore is a senior kid that played off football for us, is out throwing, and him and Brandon Vollmer is a good throw kids. They're going to add to some depth there from that standpoint. Isabel Kuchka was a place away from qualifying the state in the JAV last year. So those are all kids that are back. And our young kids, our young freshman class and girls particularly, is really solid. We'll have some girls that'll get in the mix and compete for us to maybe get another sprint group through, or maybe the 4x4 team through. I think maybe one of our boys sprint teams can qualify through. So, we just hope to compete for a district championship, and the conference championship's a little tougher because we're going against all the big schools as well.
Right.
I think we fare well against that, but I think we don't shy away from competition through the year. We usually go through the bigger meets, so we're prepared when it comes to district and sectional performances that we're ready to go. So, but I think we got a good nucleus of kids back that have an opportunity to qualify.
Yeah. One of the things I'm seeing here is just a mixture of all of the different departments, if you will.
Right.
I mean, I know back when I was running track, you had either a throwing heavy team or a distance heavy team or a sprinting heavy team or a jumper heavy team. And I'm looking just on the list here of last year's qualifiers. I mean, it's just kind of a plethora and a mixture of all the different departments.
Right, and that too. And I think the good thing I like about track and field, I think it's, if you're not a baseball player or a softball player, and I think you need to be out for track.
Right.
I think it makes you a better athlete all the way around. I think it prepares you to be a good football player, a good basketball player, a good volleyball player in the jumps. And I think it does a lot of things for you that are real good to make you a better athlete as well.
Right.
So. And kid, I do all the weight training stuff as well, and our kids have worked real hard in the weight room as well. And I think we're starting to see some of those things across the board athletically. I heard Don talking about his kids are stronger now, but I think it's due to some of those things as well. And I'm real pleased with our growth there, both boys and girls.
So, final question for you: are you coming out to the Scott the Cop Classic?
Oh
tonight?
yeah, I'm the head coach for tonight's game.
Oh my goodness,
I'm the head coach for the
a treat.
Yes, we are. You are in for a treat. It's a football game tonight.
All right, I like it. I like it. Well, I'm going to give the last final little spiel here about that real quick here. Don't forget tonight at 6:30 we're going to go live right straight here. I got to take all my stuff, run it downstairs here, and we'll set up here in the next hour and a half or so and have the Scott the Cop Classic. Say that 10 times fast. Scott the Cop Classic at 6:30, and that's basically it's a battle of the classes is what it is. And the winner gets to play the teachers, and it's all for charity, and it's going to be a good, real fun night of basketball. And so make sure you tune in, and make sure you say hi to us real quick. And I think I'm trying to remember here. I'm going to talk to Scott a little bit about maybe taking a look and finding ways to help give and donate into this this cause here, because this is for a family that they had a fire. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, and so we're going to hopefully help, and so check us out at 6:30. Coach Dallas, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Scott's put a lot of energy into this, and I'm real pleased with it. He's just done a great job. So come out and support that tonight. That'd be great.
Absolutely. That's Coach Dave Dallas, and we're going to say so long here. Don't forget, 6:30 we'll be out here at Scott the Cop Classic. Ray Halbrook, all of us here at Livestream STL. We're going to say so long, and we will see you tonight at 6:30. Have a great night.